So this is universal testing mission. This mission is called universal testing mission. It's a very important testing mission, not only for educational institutions but for industrial as well also. So whatever you see a typical kind of a mission here, you will also see this kind of missions in the industry also. Of course, in the industry they do conduct the tests on daily basis. Okay? Here we do the same tests for the laboratory purpose also. So you can see that the main purpose of this universal testing mission, or simply the tensile testing mission, is to find out the engineering stress versus engineering strain diagram of a particular engineering material. Okay, so this is the main basic purpose. So, but however, you can see that as the name indicates, universal testing, it means that with the help of this particular testing mission, you can not only conduct the tensile test, but you can also conduct a different varieties of the test using the fixers and some additional fixtures which are not shown here. You can conduct some more important laboratory tests basically. And that's why this particular mission is called universal testing mission, or you can call as a tensile testing mission also. So therefore what we do basically is that we prepare the tensile test sample as per the certain standards, either maybe Indian standards or for the ASTM standards. And then we have two jars for this particular mission. One is the movable jar, and this is the movable jar and this is the fixed jar. So the specimen will be arranged between the movable and fixed jar, and then depending on the test, if you require tensile test, then this particular jar will come down, and if you want the compression test, then this particular jar will move upwards. So in this way you can introduce the tensile and compressor loads onto the particular specimen. Okay. Now the control of the forces, the control of all the forces and the deformation can be controlled with the help of this main console actually here. Okay. So the test operating procedures are very standard. So once what we do is that once you connect the specimen here, tensile the specimen, and one more apparatus is also required for engineering stress strain diagram, that is the extensometer. Okay, because this mission does not actually measure the strain, but what it can give is measures is the displacement. Okay, therefore by connecting the extensometer to the specimen, then you can actually measure the strain, and we know the cross-sectional property, we know the force from the mission, and from the cross-sectional property and the load one can calculate the stress, and from the extensometer one can calculate the strain, and therefore the mission automatically records the stress versus strain data values, or it may, depending on how the software is prepared, it may give you in one column all the forces, in another column the delta L's, and therefore if you know the original length L, then delta L by L is the engineering strain, and if you know the area, force upon area gives the stress. So one can manually plot the stress versus strain diagram, and once we have a stress versus strain diagram, then you know very well that we can find out the most important material property, that is the Young's modulus. Then you can also find out yield stress, okay, and then you can also find out the ultimate strength, and you can also find out the breaking stress of that particular material. Okay, so therefore in the industry also, for various purposes, because they keep on using the large number of materials. Okay, so therefore in the industry they use this tensile testing mission very frequently. Okay, because the material that they procure from a particular vendor, they should meet a particular material properties, and therefore they conduct very frequently these tensile tests. So therefore this testing mission is extremely useful not only for understanding of the engineering stress strain diagram, for finding the Young's modulus and other material elastic material properties, but it is also useful when the students goes to the industry, they will find, they can easily understand the better and more use of this particular testing mission. Okay.
Welcome to Strength of Material Lab. I am Sanjeev Sharma, the Today we are going to perform on experiments on UTM. UTM stands for Universal Testing Machine. So in UTM we can perform different types of mechanical testing like tensile testing, compression testing, 3-point bend testing, extrusion, and many other kind of tests can be performed in this experimental setup. So this is experimental setup. So this is static UTM, and this capacity of this machine is 200 kilonewton. This is all upper crosshead. So here for tensile test we can put our specimen material. Here inside jaws are there, that is those jaws are threaded jaws are available. For cylindrical sample we are having V-shaped jaws, and this is the lower crosshead. Lower crosshead, here also one pair of jaw available, that is also threaded jaw, and this is the wheel. By rotating this wheel we can bring this jaw up and lock it, and this jaw already it is in downward direction. So this is for closing this jaw this way and opening this jaw this way. And this is, as I told, this is lower crosshead, this is upper crosshead, and this is the table. For tensile testing this space will be used, and for compression testing and 3-point bend testing, so we are having different fixtures. So one plate we will attach here, and already one plate is available here. So we will put our compression test material specimen and we will compress it. And these are the 3-point bending. One pair of fixture is available, that is for 3-point bending. And one mandrel we will put in the center of this lower crosshead. Then we can perform the 3-point bend testing. As we are going to perform only compression tensile testing in this experimental setup UTM, so I will concentrate on tensile testing only. This is the UTM full view. This is the UTM universal testing machine, and capacity 200 kilonewton and maximum displacement. This piston can move up to 200 millimeter. This is the panel, control panel. This is the control panel. This is the PC connected with this machine, and inside this there are sensors, pressure transducers available, and rest of the hydraulic pump tanks are available, and these are the pipes, pressure pipes. Two are loading pipe, pressure loading pipe, and two are pressure releasing pipe. This is the table. So this is the full view of this UTM. So in this machine UTM, so here one motor is there, that is 3-phase motor, and inside this that motor, this lead screws, this pair of lead screws, it runs by chain pulley drive. So for making this crosshead up and down, here the controls are available, machine control. If we press it, it will move up. This is called lead screw for power transmitting screw. So we can make it up and down according to our specimen length, according to our type of test we are going to perform. So this is another attachment. So this is the table, and this is the upper crosshead. So this is one integral attachment. So center of this one piston is there. That piston rests in cylinder. This is hydraulically operated. So for that, these hydraulic systems are available here inside. Inside hydraulic motor, pump is available, hydraulic tank is available. Once we press this hydraulic on button, and this is the releasing valve, hydraulic oil releasing valve and closing valve. So if we open this valve, then what will happen? Hydraulic oil will be, this valve will be open, then hydraulic oil will be flowing to the cylinder through these pipes. These pipes are there. Two pipes are loading hydraulic loading pipe, and two are unloading. So hydraulic, due to this pumping, hydraulic oil will go inside the cylinder and it will pushes the piston. Once it pushes the piston, this things will move up, and during this test, this lower crosshead will be stationary, no movement. Only this portion will move. And tensile testing means pulling apart. This material will hold it like this. Here it will be, both sides it will be fixed firmly, and then it will be pulled apart. Due to pulling, material will elongate and load will go on increasing, and up to the maximum load material can resist. Up to that level material load will increase, and after that ultimate load we will get, then necking will start. After that material will fail. So this way we will perform the experiment, and this is the data acquisition system cum controller, where we can see the load in kilonewton, and this is the displacement. So whatever values we are seeing, physical values, those are coming from sensors. So load coming from pressure transducer is fitted inside this machine, and displacement coming from one rotary encoder that is attached here. This is the rotary encoder, linear encoder. This linear encoder, once this moves upward direction, linear encoder will also move along with this fixture. Along with this sensor will give us voltage signal. That voltage signal, this controller will convert to physical unit. So everything is here calibrated as per the standard calibration method. This is load, this is displacement. Also we can use extension meter. This is called extension meter. This is clip-on extension meter. This extension meter will be used for finding the value of strain or actual extension within this material, so that we can find out the Young's modulus or modulus of elasticity. So this, how we will fix this one, those things we will also show you during this experimental work. Provide you two different types of materials, tensile test specimens, ASTM E8 standard specimens. This is mild steel specimen, and this one already annealing already done, heat treatment done. It was heated up to 745 degrees Celsius, and it was kept inside the furnace for 45 minutes for uniform heating. After that it was taken out, this rod was taken out, then it was machined in lathe machine according to the dimension, according to the drawing of the specimen. And this is also aluminum material, and this one dimension also same, but due to turning or machining, according to the standard, they may be turned more or turned less. So whatever it may be, we will measure the diameter of this specimen, and we will choose gauge length. Gauge length should be minimum 5 times of D. Whatever, suppose diameter you are getting 12, then gauge length will be 60, minimum 60, maximum within this uniform length. This is called R, radius, and this is radius. This is radius. This is radius. This is radius. This is the within this uniform diametric length. We will find out the gauge length, minimum 5D. And same thing we need to follow here. And now we will go for fixing the specimen. Before fixing, we will show you that we are having this machine is connected with software. It cannot be run through the software, but data can be acquired. Data acquisition can be done through software, and online load versus displacement graph and load versus extension graph can be seen. Online graph, while test is going on, during that time we can see online test these graphs, and data also will be generated, and data will be stored in Excel format. From Excel format also we can do the calculations, and you can directly from graph also you can see the results, how much the load, how much the extension going on. Software, before starting the test, you need to put some file name. Suppose you are using mild steel specimen, so I am writing here mild steel QIP1 that, and outer whatever outer diameter that we need to be, suppose 12.5 outer diameter. Gauge length, what is the gauge length? As per gauge length, suppose gauge length is 62.5 5D, 62.5, and here we will select the sample. Here we will select the round solid, as this is solid sample, round solid, and rest of the this Indian Institute of Technology, and which group and which students are doing those things you can write here according to our requirement. Then we will save it. And then we will go for start test. This button we will click start test. Then again one menu will come, pop-up menu will come. There you will need to set some values for those are required for smooth running of this software and machine. So after that, whatever it may be, the outer diameter again we will verify, gauge length we will verify, safe load. Machine's maximum capacity is 200 kilonewton. So that's why we will put safe load 200 kilonewton and peak load. This is a rupture. So this we should give actually some 15 to 98, some reference value we should give. This is the actually what is the peak load percentage. Go on instead of the graph updating value is this one. So now we will put data OK. Then one menu will come and we will go to the machine part. In that machine part, we will start the test. Then this graph will generate automatically. Once test going on, graph will be automatically generating. This way, this axis is the load axis and this is the displacement axis. So before fixing the specimen, we need to measure the diameter of this specimen. Suppose this is the vernier caliper. This vernier caliper we will use for measuring the dimension. This way we will measure this dimension as per the standard. It should be 12.5, but here it is 10, 12, 13.8. So actually it should be, as per standard, it should be 12.5, but as I told, due to turning in lathe machine they turn less, that's why it is 13.8. Now you multiply 13.8 into 5. So this way you can choose the gauge length. So as we got the diameter 13.5, so 13.5 into 5D, gauge length will be 67.5, but for our calculation, for getting the good calculation, we are rounding it 70. So this way we will put marker 2 point we will put, because this is very important. If we will not mark it, once the specimen we will test, specimen will get elongated, and after elongation necking will happen somewhere center or in between this gauge length. So once specimen fails, then you need to calculate the percentage elongation. This is releasing valve and this is the main loading valve. So once we open it, if we small you open, then small hydraulic oil will flow inside the piston and then cylinder will be rising up. So if we open more, then more hydraulic oil will flow, pumping will happen, then test speed will increase. So before testing, we need to do floating. What is floating? Floating is actually this machine is having, initially this machine is, as this is connected with piston and it is resetting in cylinder. So if we keep this one released, then what will happen? That whatever remaining hydraulic oil, that all oil will be back to the hydraulic tank. So before starting any test, we need to do floating. Floating is what? We have to close this valve, this portion having some dead weight. That dead weight need to be lifted by hydraulic pressure. So that is called floating. So for doing this floating work, we need to initially close this valve during the testing. Close this valve, then start the hydraulic here, press this hydraulic button here, and then open this valve. Once you open this valve, and here you at least 1 or 2 mm displacement, the piston should come upward direction. 1 or 2 mm, piston will move up. That means whole whole fixtures are floating on the hydraulic oil. Now let us fix this specimen, mild steel specimen. For fixing, we will open this jaw. Open this jaw and we will put inside the jaw. A jaw, I told that V-shaped threaded jaw. I will put it here. Where is we put mark? This mark is available here. This side you can see the mark. We will put it and this is due to the gravitational load. This jaw will come this way and it will hold the specimen. But here one locking device is there. As jaws are in this way upward direction, so jaws will be like this, then we will lock it. Otherwise, if we will don't put the lock, then jaw will fall down. That's why this automatically upper jaws locks and lower jaws we will lock it. For that we need to bring it upward direction by opening the lock. We will open the jaw. So now specimen is under the jaw, but it is not locked, so we will lock it by rotating this wheel. Now this tight. Now we will lock this lock nut. We will lock this lock nut and we will take out this wheel. This clip-on extension meter, as I told, this is used for finding the strain or actual extension within the specimen. And this you have seen, this is one knife edge, very sharp edge, and this is one sharp edge. This will be put on the specimen like this. It is retained under the spring force. Spring force is there, so we will put it like this on the specimen during the testing. So once we fix it, what will happen? This end is fixed along with the specimen, and this end will also firmly sit on this specimen. And once specimen elongates, this end can travel. This will be fixed, this will be travel, and it can travel up to maximum 2 mm. So generally Young's modulus value can be find out within the elastic limit, proportional limit, within that straight line, linear portion only we can find out. So extensometer also we will use up to the linear portion, means linear displacement or linear deflection, or within the plastic elastic region only. If we keep it up to the failure of the specimen, then extensometer will permanently get damaged, it will deform, permanently get damaged. So that's why we will not put it up to the failure of the specimen, and we will remove this extensometer in between the test. At what interval we will remove it, we have already set it, generally 1.5 or 1.8 mm extension of this extensometer. We will take out the extension. Why I have choose 2 mm, 1.5 mm or 1.8 mm of the extension for removal of this extensometer, because this extensometer having limit maximum 2 mm extension only it can show us, it can give us, except that it will not move further. This is moving, and while moving you can see this sense. As I have attached the extensometer, this is moving, this is moving. So maximum 2 mm only it can go. So if we put more, then it will permanently get damaged. I will fix the extensometer on this material specimen like this. So while putting extensometer, it should be such a way so that specimen extensometer is perfectly aligned. Otherwise, it will give erroneous results. So for that, we will hold it properly and then we will fix it. This voltage signal into physical unit, so we will make it everything 0. Now we can go for the actual test. So before starting the actual test, this is the software. So before starting the test, we will press air load, then start test. Once we press start test, this red light will glow. So during the test going on, this light will continuously on. Once test stops, this will also off. So now we will start the test. We are going to start this hydraulic on. Start this hydraulic on. Now one person will slowly open this valve hydraulic control valve, main control valve. It will open. You will open the valve, and one person will come this side and you will hold it. Otherwise, some slippage may occur inside the specimen. So now let's start. I am holding it. So let's start slowly open. So once suppose 1 kilonewton or 2 kilonewton, maximum 5 kilonewton, if it goes, then we will release this buoy. This way it will continue. So we will show you how it is going on. So now it is load is showing 1.4, like that it is increasing. Now you can see in the software there you are seeing that load versus displacement, and another side load versus extension. Load versus displacement, load coming from certain sensor and displacement coming from linear encoder, as I told, and this side also load versus extension. Extension means extension meter reading. So once the test completes, then this graph will be completely clearly visible to you. So these are the online values. Instantaneously values are increasing. So this way readings will also go on increasing. So this is the extension meter value, and this is the peak load, and this is the load going on, and this is the displacement. Load is go on increasing, and now it is showing the displacement from the linear encoder necking over. Now you see necking will happen. What will happen? Already maximum load reached. So after maximum load reached, specimen will at some point diameter will reduce, specimen will go on further elongating, and finally it will fail and hold. So now we will get the results. Test automatically stop. Specimen already fractured, breaking at the center point, middle point of the specimen. Now we will put some values here. Final gauge length. Already initial gauge length known to us, that is we kept it 70 mm. So that value we no need to put here, already it is given. Now we will take out the specimen, remove the specimen from this jaw, and then we will see the failure pattern and join these two parts, and then we will measure the final length of the gauge length of the specimen, how much elongation happened. That we will able to do the calculation once we measure the final gauge length. So for removing the specimen, this part we will first make it down, then we will take this part, and this is little bit heated up. So in steel and some tungsten and some other very high strength material, sometimes flames comes out while breaking. So it is heated already, some heats are there. So now we will take out the second part. For this we will release this lock nut. So here you can see little bit cup cone type of failure, not perfectly, but sometimes you will able to see in mild steel case material there will be cup cone failure behavior. So this is also little bit cup shape, and this is cone shape. So this will now we will fix it like this way. After fixing, we will measure this gauge length, final length, by using vernier caliper. This is the necking point where the diameter reduced. Now we have joined these two parts, and we will measure the minimum diameter at the neck point. We have got the minimum diameter at neck point 8.2, and the gauge length, final length, we have got 93.76, and final diameter 8.2. this value we will put it, and we will put some MS, then we will close it, then results will be saved. Now you are able to see the graph. So this is the graph, load versus extension. This is the maximum force 69.780 kilonewton. This is the displacement at maximum force. This much displacement happened. Maximum extension as per the maximum limit, safe limit of the extension method. This is the cross section area of this material. This is the ultimate strength 0.467 kilonewton millimeter square, and we can make it, we can say it megapascal or GPA. Elongation, this is the elongation percentage. This is the reduction area, how much the area reduced. This is the Young's modulus value, 233.916 kilonewton millimeter square. Generally steel Young's modulus value starts from 180 GPA, 180 GPA and above, depending upon the grade of the material. And this is the yielding load. This is the yielding stress. It is in kilonewton millimeter square. We can say megapascal also, 329 megapascal. And then proof stress, this one 0.3267 kilonewton millimeter square. We can say megapascal also. Proof stress, this one rupture one means upper yield point, lower yield point, like these things. And this is yield stress by ultimate tensile strength ratio is this value. So this way we can load versus extension graph, this one. Another graph you can say stress extension graph, and next we can see stress versus strain graph, and then two stress, two strain. That is actually, this graph is same graph, it is not correct. And this is the load versus displacement graph. So this way we can take this graph in PDF format, and we will get the data also in Excel format, and from this data we can process it. We can do some correction, some arbitrary values also comes. Those things we will correct it, and finally we will do the rest of the calculation, and you will get the results, and you will need to make your report and do the quiz answers available in the handout or manuals. So thank you very much. You can select these things, this data. You can select it by selecting it. Select whatever required, whatever not required you don't select. Almost everything required. So now we will put print certificate. If you print certificate, then everything, all data will come. If you put graph certificate, if you graph print, then only graph will come, data will not come. So we will choose better print certificate. Print certificate means okay. Now yes, you can make it in PDF format. So we will put some folder, tensile. Now open this file, then we will L load versus extension, LE. We will save it like this, and then we can also save that load versus displacement. This is the main two graphs. So we will select it, yes. Then again we will go to that folder. Then we will make it to load versus displacement. Save it this way. Whatever you require, you can save it. Now you can close this software. So this is the test certificate. So this is the file name. So these are the test data results graph. So this is the graph, load versus displacement graph. So again we can see load versus elongation graph. This is load versus elongation graph. This is extension. These are the data. This is the specimen dimensions, parameters, and this is Young's modulus value. This is the graph. So this way we need to look it. The same way we need to perform tensile test of this material. This is called aluminum material. Dimensions, as I told, you need to measure it as per STM standard. This should be 12.5 diameter, and gauge length should be minimum 5 times of D. So this aluminum material also we will test in UTM, and we will get the graphs results as we already got in doing that tensile test of the mild steel sample.